today we're going to be looking at my very favorite part of the heads-up hyper-turbo game, which is in-position post-flop play. Because although taking down free uncontested pots pre-flop is going to be best for our hourly, post-flop play is going to allow us to be much more creative and to do fun things like using our aggression to force our opponent to fold out the best hand, or really nailing down our opponent's range and using our bet sizing to extract max value from his weaker holdings. So let's start off now by looking at the 4 different ways we can end up in position post-flop, listed in order of the frequency we can expect to encounter them. We raise and our opponent calls. We limp and our opponent checks. We raise, our opponent non-all in 3 bets and we flat. We limp, our opponent raises and we flat. So since our approach to situations 3 and 4 are going to be extremely player dependent, not to mention a really insignificant part of our game at the lower stakes due to the predominantly passive population tendencies, we'll discuss those as they occur in our hand history and extreme grind sessions, and instead focus our attention on the more common situations found in points 1 and 2. So let's check those out now. When we raise pre-flop and our opponent calls. So of course, in keeping with our theme for this video pack, and to quickly review some of what we spoke about in one of our first videos, our default action in this situation, and in pretty much any situation I suppose, is going to be relentlessly aggressive until our opponent gives us an observable and justifiable reason to stop. Therefore, in the absence of any specific reads, we should generally be c-betting near, if not at 100%. Now, this might be a bit of an unorthodox idea to some, but my personal belief is that since we've already established that the biggest mistake our opponents are likely to make at these limits is folding too much, we should make it our primary mission to determine whether this is going to be the case against our current opponent, and if it is, locate the specific situations in which we can maximally exploit this weakness. In my opinion, the quickest and most productive way to accomplish this is to simply click the bet button as quickly and as frequently as humanly possible, and to only deviate from this game plan when or if our opponent is able to convince us that doing so will not be our highest expectation play, which, based on my personal experience, will be a surprisingly rare occurrence until we hit the 60s. In fact, I'm such a strong proponent for this style of play that whenever I release a video or strategy post, I inevitably receive multiple comments essentially asking different versions of the same question, which basically all amounts to, "What the hell, man? You think the answer to everything is to just bet, bet, bet? Idiot." So to hopefully put that question to rest once and for all, let me answer that now by emphatically stating that yes, I do think the answer to everything is to just bet, bet, bet. I mean, it's not surprising to me that most people who post this type of question appear to do so with a strangely aggravated tone, because the truth is playing against an extremely aggressive opponent can be incredibly frustrating. It causes people to constantly feel like they're on the defensive and forces them to make a seemingly endless string of tough decisions for their tournament life. Making a solid value hand is just much tougher to do in a heads-up format than most low-stake players understand, and putting up a fight with air is simply not something that most randoms and fish have the ability to do consistently and to do well. Heck, you can probably open some random $100 tables right now and still find a fair number of players simply getting run over by more aggressive opponents. So my advice to my students is always the same. Stop caring about losing a buy-in or looking like a spaz and just bet.